Let's start by talking about what a list is. A list is people who have opted to receive emails from you. They may have visited one of your websites or any Web 2.0 property or something similar that you own and said, I want some information, and filled in a form on your page. May have been a pop-up, an unblockable pop-up, may just have been a form on the page. Whatever it might be, they've said they want to receive emails from you. Usually it's related to a website that you've created. So if you've got a website on stop smoking, you may have a stop smoking list. If you've got one on parrot keeping, you may have a parrot keeping list. If you've got one on cooking, maybe you've got a list on that as well. But they've signed up to your list for a reason, because they want more information on the subject that your website's about, the niche that you're marketing in. They either want the free gift that you signed up, or if they're not quite sure to buy your product yet, so they want some more information, or they want the course that you're offering to give them access to, or anything like that. That's why they've opted in. Now, typically, your list is going to contain people from all over the world. Don't be surprised if there's people who don't come from your country. Don't be surprised if there's people that don't speak the same language as well as you, or don't understand the colloquialisms you use or some of the terms you use. There's going to be people that are going to be experts in the niche. There's going to be people that are intermediate. And there's going to be people that are complete beginners that have no knowledge whatsoever. What you may also find, if you start being successful in the niche, you're going to get some of your competitors subscribing to your list as well, because they're going to want to check you out and see what you're doing. So this means that when you're contacting your list, you need to make sure that you use language that everyone can understand, or everyone in that niche can understand. You don't want to use colloquialisms or refer to things that are going on in your city or country, because not everyone will be aware of those. In fact, you even have to be wary about saying things like tonight or good morning, because some people reading your email, it's not going to be morning for them. And not everybody, but some of them are going to complain, or it's going to confuse them. They're going to read an email at 10 o'clock at night that says, good morning, it's great weather here, it's doing fantastic. And they're looking out the window thinking, it's snowing, it's not fantastic. And it's not morning, it's night. So you can see, you can confuse people by using sort of terminology that refers to where you are. Depends on how you do it, but in general, it could confuse people. But a list is one thing, and one thing you really need to understand. It's a very valuable resource. A list is going to make all the difference for you in making money online. A list is the difference between earning a decent amount of money and earning a lot of money. Many marketers earn a lot more with a list than they do from their products. But you need to make sure that your list and your autoresponder and your mailings complies with spam laws. Now, many countries have introduced spam laws in a vain attempt to combat the rising problem of spam. I can't remember how many emails are spam now, but it's a ridiculous amount. It's something like 80 to 90% of all emails sent are spam. So it's a serious problem. And unfortunately for you and I as list owners, many companies tend to shoot first and ask questions later when it comes to compliance with these laws. So what you'll find in a lot of cases is, if they complain to your web host about spam, the web host will shut you down and then go, hey, what are you doing spamming? At which time, of course, your business is gone because your website's been shut down. So, firstly, always keep a backup of your sites. And secondly, make sure you are aware of the spam laws and you comply with them. So this means you don't send out unsolicited emails to people. You don't advertise, things that they don't want. So, it's all well and good sending out a message about, say, something like Viagra to a list that would be interested in that. But your parrot keepers, they may not appreciate being sent that sort of email. So you've got to make sure that you comply with the spam laws. And it's for your benefit as well, because if you don't, your messages are going to get blacklisted. They're going to end up in junk folders and spam folders, and they're never going to be read. And of course, that's a problem. One thing you could do, and we'll talk about this a bit further on in the course, is use something called double opt-in to protect yourself with the spam laws. Because with double opt-in, it basically means somebody says, I want to join your list. Your autoresponder then sends them a message that says, hey, someone using this email address has requested to join this list. Was it you, and do you want to? And then they click on the link. Now, the upside of this is you're protected from this. You comply with the spam law. So if anyone comes to you and says, hey, he's spamming me, and this has happened to me, I've had some very nasty emails off people saying, who the hell do you think you are sending me these emails? And I say, hang on, you subscribed to my list on this date at this time from this IP address. You double opted in to my list, so I'm not spamming you. You have forgotten you've signed up to my list, and that tends to send them away. I've also had companies contact me saying, you're spamming us. I'm saying, no, I'm not. This person's requested information, and I can prove to them. I've even had my web host sort of contact me saying someone's complained about spamming, and again, it wasn't spam. I had the double opt-in, so I just showed my web host the double opt-in, said, right, oh, that person, yeah, they signed up on that date at this time, and from that IP address, and they double opted in. Since then, they bought this product, and this product, and they've opened all these emails. So I was able to go back and give them all this information, and my web host just went, oh, fair enough, and just told the person where to go. But you know, you've got to be protected, because you can get yourself shut down, and if your business relies on that, it could be a problem. I want to tell you a little about what's in this course. This is a course about list building. We're going to show you a number of ways to build a list. But I want you to understand why you want a list. A lot of marketers can't get their head around why a list is good. We're going to talk about that in the next video so that you know why it's a good thing for you to have. I'm going to give you some help choosing an autoresponder. I'm going to be honest, it can be difficult. There's millions of them out there. You know, there's hosted services, there's scripts you can install, there's expensive scripts, there's cheap scripts, there's expensive hosted services, there's cheaper ones. Which do you go for? Which one's best? You know, do you just pick the one that everyone else is going for? We're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. I'm going to talk to you about how you actually build a list. I want to talk about the mechanics of it. Where do you find subscribers? I want to talk about some of the best ways for you to find subscribers and why list building needs to be the focus of your business. I'm also going to teach you some of the most powerful ways to build your list. These are incredible ways for you to build a list and to get people subscribing. You know, once you've got subscribers, you've got a great relationship with them, you're going to earn a lot of money. But you need to understand what your list wants, and we're going to talk about this in this course as well. I want you to understand what your list is after and how you can give it to them. I'm also going to talk about where to find content from your list. I mean, again, a lot of people are put off building a list because they sit and think, I've got to write an email to the list every week or every 2 days or whatever it might be, which is great. If you've got one list, no problems. When you've got 10 lists or 20 lists or 100 lists, it becomes a problem, and it becomes quite a serious problem. So we're going to talk about where to find content for your lists so that you're not stuck spending all your life writing content for them. We're going to talk about the importance of a relationship with your list as well. That's vital for you to understand. Now, this course is fully featured. There's going to be lots of information. There is a book accompanying it if you want to print that out and read that or have it next to you as well. There's some crossover between the book and the video, but there's information that's in the videos that isn't in the book and vice versa. So you're going to have to watch them both and read the book, but the book won't take you too long to read. This information is going to, there's going to be a lot of it. This video course is fluff free, so you're not going to find filler and useless information. It's all to the point, valuable information to help you understand why you need to build a list. So grab yourself a pen and paper, make yourself comfortable, and let's move on to the next video right now. So why on earth would you want a list? Why would you want 20,000 loyal subscribers on your autoresponder? Well, a list is an incredibly valuable resource, and one that I think most marketers that aren't making a lot of money online undervalue. A list is incredibly valuable. There are many marketers that make more money from the list than they do from product sales. Now, I was talking to a very well-to-do marketer that I know makes between $20,000 and $30,000 a month from his websites. Now, he said to me, and this is absolute genuine. He said this to me. We were having a discussion at a seminar, and I was talking about the fact that I really ought to build a list. This was some time ago, and he said to me, "Do you know what? I earn between $20,000 and $30,000 a month from my products. I can send one email to my list in that month and earn more than I earn from my product sales." And I sort of sat there a minute and thought, "Ooh, that's a lot of money." Then I thought, one email. He probably sends about half a dozen or so in a month. So he's probably making an awful lot of money off of his niche. So that's why these lists are so fantastic. With a list, you're going to make an awful lot of money from them. Potentially, and you need a decent sized list that responds well, you could earn tens of thousands of dollars from a single email. Now, let's face it, the average that people quote in the industry is that you earn sort of $1 per month per subscriber, is sort of a really rough guideline. So that means that if you had 10,000 subscribers, you should earn $10,000 a month off them. If you have 100,000 subscribers, that's $100,000 a month. Not bad, is it? But obviously this varies. It depends upon your relationship with your list. It depends on how much they value what you send out and how relevant the offers that you send them are. Basically, it puts money on tap for you. It means that if you suddenly think, "Oh, I've got to pay my tax bill," or "My car's broke, I need a new car," you send an email to your list, money comes in, problem solved. It's an incredibly valuable resource that will do you well. But the really good thing about it is it allows you to quickly sell a new product. So for example, if I don't have a list and I launch a new product, I'm left there scratching my head thinking, right, what do I do with this then? Okay, I've got a great product. Who's going to buy it? There's no one there. I've got to go out and recruit affiliates and joint venture partners and this and that and the other, and try and sell the product. But if I've got a list, all I do is I send bang a message out, orders come flooding in. But what also happens, of course, is I send that message out, orders come flooding in, and of course many of those will sign up as affiliates because of course I'm going to tell them all about the affiliate program, and they are then going to sign up and sell it for me. So you get that sort of momentum. But it doesn't just account for new products. If there's any CPA offers that are relevant or affiliate programs, you can send those out. It means that you can react really quickly. So if there's a new product launch, you don't have to go through this whole rigmarole of getting your site to the top of the search engines. You just send an email out to your list, a couple more to remind them, enjoy the sales coming in. Same with CPA offers. Though one thing with CPA offers, if you're going to send out emails, some of the CPA companies will give you what they call suppression lists, and those are lists of emails that they do not want the offer sent to, and you have to run that against your list. It is hassle and can be really difficult to do with some autoresponders before you send out the email, so just be aware of that. But it's a really, really great way to earn because, bang, the message goes out, in comes the money. It's absolutely riveting. I'm telling you now, when you've got your first list, I mean, this happened to me when I spoke to this guy at this seminar, and he told me this, and my eyes just went wide as saucers, and I thought, I've got to do this. I started building this. I spent about 3 weeks tapping away, putting autoresponder sign up forms on my pages, offering gifts for people to sign up and so on. By the end of about 3 weeks, I had 208 subscribers, and I just finished a new product, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to send a message out to my list. And I'd sent them a few messages to build a bit of a relationship, and I thought, they know what I'm about. I'm going to send them another message. So what I did is I sat down and I wrote a message about this new product. I didn't tell them everything about it. I hadn't even got a sales page for it. I literally just said, right, I've got a hot new product. This is what it's all about. Told them all about it. I said, look, I haven't got a sales page up for it yet, but I sent it on the Friday, and what I said is on the Monday I'll have the sales page up, and it's going to be $50. But just over this weekend, just before while I'm getting the sales page up, because you're one of my subscribers, tell you what, I'll let you have it for 20. And I sort of sent it out and then thought, oh no, I'm going to get loads of unsubscribes, and the usual worry. It was my first real sales message to my list, and I logged in the next morning. I found I made 3 sales. I thought, I just made $60 from an email, and that was like, absolutely revolutionary to me there. $60 or something I earned by selling products or AdSense at that time. So it was like, hang on, this is really good. So I left the offer there. Sunday night I sent another message saying, look, just so you're all aware, this price is going up tomorrow and this offer's been removed, so if you want it, act now. And I woke up Monday morning, I set to work putting the sales page up, checked my PayPal account. I'd had another 3 orders in. So, one email had earned me, what was that, $120. It was like, wow. But you got to remember, I only had a list of 200 people. And it was like, hang on. If 200 people earn me $120, if I had a list of 2,000 people, that would have earned me $1,200. If I had 20,000, that might have been $12,000. And, it was just like, wow. It completely blew my mind when I sat and thought about it. So what I did then is I've gone off and I've built lists in every niche. Every single web page of mine has a way into my autoresponders, and I sell to my list. And it's absolutely fantastic. It will change your life. I guarantee it. When you first send that email out to your list and you get that first sale back, no matter how small it is, it's just gonna, you're gonna get the bug, and it's really gonna change your life. So why would you have a niche? Well, what you need to do is every niche you work in, you're gonna have a separate list. So if I'm in the stop smoking niche, I'd have a list for that. If I'm in the gardening niche, I'd have a list for whatever sub niches I'm in. So one for rose keeping, one for organic gardening, one for bonsai trees. I might have a list for parrot keeping, a list for potty trained children, one for teaching dog tricks. All of these are separate lists. Now, the only niche where I don't always have a separate list is internet marketing. Internet marketing, people tend to be interested in a lot of different things. So I wouldn't just have my list building niche, my traffic generation niche, my AdSense and AdWords niches. I may separate them out like that, but what I'd probably do is send them all the same sort of generic newsletter every week, or for example. But I then send each niche specific products. So that's something you could do as well. It depends on how you want to run it. But you've got to make sure you only market relevant information to the niche. Now, if I've got my parrot training people, I might know a bit about them, know that, well, in general, 80% of people who own parrots are over the age of 50, then I could safely say, well, I could send them offers that are related to people or of interest to people over 50. But if I'm in a niche like quit smoking, for example, where it could be anyone from the age of 18 to 80, I can't do that. So I've got to make sure I market relevant information. I don't want to be sending my quit smoking people offers saying, hey, look, I've got this great new product that will teach you how to make your dog do tricks, because most of them are going to turn around and go, huh? So you've got to be aware of that. You've got to make sure you only market relevant information. But one of the great things about the list is you can test products and test the market response from a list. So, like with the product I told you I sold on the previous slide to my list, the first one I ever sold, it was a good test, and it was a test to see how well it would sell, and I thought, this is good. So I launched the product, signed people up from my list as affiliates, and it went on to make some really good money for me. But you can have a really good test of, is something going to sell, what price points is it going to sell at, from marketing to your list. Now, if you have a good relationship with your list, which we'll talk about later on, you can do things like get testimonials for your product. So, of course, this was a new product I'd launched. 3 or 4 days later, I contacted the half dozen buyers and said, look, what did you think of the product? Is there anything else you'd like to see in it? And would you mind providing a testimonial? 4 of them gave me a testimonial. So I instantly had testimonials for my product that I could put on my webpage and help make sales. You can also get feedback and market information. You can survey them and say, look, in this niche, what's your most important, your biggest problem? What's the one question that you have? And they'll give you feedback. You can ask them to vote on product names, domain names, whatever it might be, but you can get some great feedback from them. But a list is an absolutely vital part of marketing, which so many people completely ignore. Many marketers don't see the value in building a list because they're too busy trying to build products, thinking that the real money is to be earned from a product. Well, it's not. It's to be earned from a list. And that's why you cannot ignore list building, and your business needs to be focused very much around building a list. When it comes to choosing an autoresponder, you need to understand your requirements. You need to know what it is that you want from an autoresponder and what the autoresponders offer you. But it's important that you sit and spend a little bit of time thinking about what it is that you want. What are your needs? We're going to talk about that a little in this video. You need to understand your budget as well. Can you afford to pay monthly? Can you afford to just buy something one-off? Or do you need to have a real tight budget and have to go for something that's free or very inexpensive? Your budget will determine which autoresponder you can go for. Do you want the hassle of hosting it yourself? Do you want to install the script, configure it, set it up, update it, maintain security and so on? Or do you want to buy a hosted service and have someone else take care of all that for you? How many lists do you want? Some autoresponders limit the number of lists you can have and how many messages you can send. So you need to understand that. You need to make sure that whichever autoresponder you choose is one that you can grow into. If you can only have 10 lists and you think, oh, that's plenty, and you hit 10, then you've got a problem. So, ideally you want one, and most of them do, that will allow you to host unlimited lists. What you need to do is look at the different services, look at the features of them, compare them to what you want, and then decide which autoresponder to go for from that. Now, Aweber is probably one of the most popular, though GetResponse and Wizard Autoresponder are also very popular. GetResponse is well established. Wizard Autoresponder is relatively new to the scene, but is receiving some very good reviews and is very popular with its customers. There are many others, such as Infusionsoft, iContact and Constant Contact. These are more business orientated and high end. They offer in-depth reporting, segmentation of lists and so on and so forth. It's where Aweber feels that it is heading. Aweber recently changed its pricing structure and added a lot of new features, which is trying to put itself on a par with these services. So you've got to consider that as well. Do you want that level of segmentation and reporting, or do you just want to be able to send messages out to lists? Now, hosting versus hosted. Now, typically, if you're hosting your own, you pay a one-off fee. You buy a script for $100, $200, $500, whatever it might be. Hosted tends to be continued payment, so you're renting it if you're hosting it, if you're hosted using a hosted service. So you tend to pay a certain amount per month. Now, some of the autoresponders, this amount varies according to how many people you have on your list, which of course puts the burden on you to actually market to your list. If you're hosting your own, it means you have to install the software, configure it, and keep the script updated. You have to worry about security and patches and so on and so forth, which, if you're not technically skilled, could be quite difficult for you to do. It also could be a hassle. You might have to pay someone to do it. It constantly means that you've got updates to do, so it's a lot of work to do, and that does put a lot of people off hosting their own. It's simply the work involved, particularly with applying patches, and some of the autoresponders that you buy say, well, you can have this version, then they release a new version 6 months later and say, yeah, well, if you want to upgrade, it's another $100. So they get you like that. So it can be an issue, but then if you don't need the upgraded features, you don't need to upgrade, do you? Now, a hosted service will usually provide a better delivery rate, simply because companies like Aweber and GetResponse work with the big email giants like Gmail, Hotmail, AOL, Yahoo and so forth, and have very, very strict rules about what can be sent out and how it's sent out and so on, which means that, they don't have a problem. The hosted companies have people working to make sure that the domains aren't spoofed and so on and so forth. If you're hosting your own, I used to host my own autoresponder, and I just got flooded with junk messages. People obviously realised, spammers obviously realised, and what I found is I was getting, there was messages being sent out from my domain name, from all over the place, and my domain name, before I knew it, had become blacklisted by a lot of companies, and was, messages were just going into the junk folder. So it's a really, really serious problem. So you do have to consider that, and bear in mind that the hosted service will spend much more time ensuring that their service is spam free. And basically, the higher the delivery rate, the higher the open rate, the higher your earnings. If your messages aren't getting through and they're getting lost in the junk or spam folders, that's bad news. That's your earnings going down the pan. Hosting your own, you do run the risk of having your domain blacklisted. I imagine there's some ways around it. I'm pretty technically competent. I know what I'm doing. I know my way around the server and the script. But I couldn't, even with my web host's help, I was struggling to stop the spoofing of my domain name. There's very little I could do. So, as I said, my domain was very soon blacklisted. And in the end, I let the domain expire because it was useless to me, because it was so damaged by the spammers. But hosting your own, if you're careful, it's not bad. A lot of people still host their own autoresponders. A lot of very big names do, simply because they have control over their list. And that's the thing. If you host your own, you physically own your list. It's yours. It's in, on your server. You know where it is. Whereas if I have an Aweber account, well, where's my list? It's on an Aweber server. Can I get to it? Yeah, I might be able to export a copy, but I don't really own it. So this is why a lot of people prefer to host their own. They've got complete control. They can do what they want. They're not, beholden to the autoresponder company and having to do exactly what they want. And obviously that suits some people who perhaps want to enter a slightly grey shade in their emailing. Particularly if, for example, you may want to run single opt-in because you get more people on your list because you don't have the issues with double opt-in messages not being clicked on or delivered. But your autoresponder service won't allow you, so you may end up hosting your own, so you can do that. But again, it's up to you which way you go. What you're looking out for, whichever autoresponder you choose, is a high rated deliverability. If your messages aren't getting through, you're not going to be earning. Your messages have to be delivered, and they have to get through to the inbox, not the spam or junk mail folder. Let's be honest. Hands up anyone who sits and spends time reading every single message in the spam folder. I don't see many hands. Very few people do. If it's not getting through to the inbox, you're not earning. You need to make sure that whichever autoresponder you choose complies with the anti-spam regulations. This is very, very important. It could damage your business incredibly. Not to mention the fact that, if you do get caught spamming, and you actually are, you could face prosecution and even jail and basically an unlimited fine. It's not pleasant. So you've got to make sure that they comply with the anti-spam laws and are aware of them, because that way you are going to be safe. You want a reliable and established service. You don't want to rush out and go for whatever it might be, any old company. You want to make sure that whatever service you're using is reliable. An autoresponder is usually for life, to be perfectly honest. Once you have one, it's a nightmare to move your autoresponder. If most autoresponder hosted services, for example, will insist that your leads opt back into your mailing list when they import it. They have to protect themselves against spam laws and people who harvest email addresses. But what it means is that you lose an awful lot of subscribers. I've known people with 20,000 on their list, and they've moved and they've lost loads of people. I was hosting my own script for some time, and as I said to you, my domain name ended up getting blacklisted and completely ruined by spammers. So I thought, right, I'm going to have to move to my a hosted service. I want that reliability. I want that deliverability. So I did, and my list, I had almost 10,000 people on my list at the time. I thought, right, I'm going to get them all. I'll message them 2 or 3 times. I'll get them to subscribe to my new list so that I can market to them from my hosted service. And out of 10,000 people, only about 150 reconfirmed their email address. So effectively, by moving, I lost almost 10,000 subscribers. Took me a year and a half to build that many up. So you've got to be careful. You know, you don't want to be shifting around autoresponders every few days, every year or so, because you're going to end up losing a lot of subscribers. You need to understand who owns the list and whether you can export it if it's a hosted service. Exporting the list means that if the worst happens, you can then load it onto your own service and you still have your list and you can still mail to them. A lot of marketers will do that. They'll take their lists and they have their own autoresponder and they put it on their own autoresponder as well, so that they've got them safe in case there's a problem. That's something to consider. You've got to look out for whether it will offer double opt-in or single opt-in. Again, depends on what you want to do with your business. Do you want to go for double opt-in? Do you want to just stick with single opt-in? Double opt-in gives you the protection against the anti-spam laws. Single opt-in gives you an awful lot more subscribers. You want something that's easy to use. You don't want a script that you look at and it confuses you and it's counterintuitive. It's got to be something that's very, very easy for you to use. And something that's easy for people to unsubscribe from. You want something that allows you to put that, like a signature at the bottom, so you can put your contact details in compliance with the spam laws and so on. And you also want a company that's contactable. If there's a problem, you need to be able to get hold of them. You know, it's no good them taking 3 weeks to answer a message if, you know, your list isn't working. That's a huge problem. That could really damage your income. So make sure that they have good contactability and good response rates. And that's really what you're looking for in a list. Now, an autoresponder is a big choice, and you do need to make sure you get it right pretty much the first time. If you move autoresponders, you do run the risk of losing a lot of subscribers. So, think about what you need, think about your budget, look at some of the sites we mentioned here and decide which one will work for you. And then, once you're really sure, subscribe to it and start building your lists and start earning from them.